It's a beautiful day out. You decide to take your children on a walk. You walk because your children are riding their bikes and they're riding slow. They're not fast yet. They still got the training wheels on. Everything is going great. And then what happens? They get pissed. Why do they get pissed? Well, let me tell you. They get pissed because they can't figure out how to pedal right. You already taught them. They know how to do it. But they're just stuck. But you're a patient dad. You wait. You let them figure it out. You give them the space. You give them the time that they need because you want them to overcome this challenge by themselves. You already gave them the tools, the knowledge on how to do so. All they have to do is put it into action. Do they do it? No! Why would they? They throw a fit. You're a few blocks down from your house. Your child is just throwing a tantrum, if you will, crying, screaming. You shut down the screaming because that's not allowed. No. They can cry, but they will not be screaming. And you decide, okay, we're done. You give them enough time to try to figure it out, and they didn't. They failed, which is okay. But the screaming, not okay. Brothers, daddies, this is That Dad Carlo, your host to That Dad. I'm currently cooking some bacon right now, so if you hear some sizzling, you know what's up. I don't got no studio. I don't got no special mic. I got my phone and my maple bacon. That's what we're doing today. We're eating. The kids are at school. I finally get some alone time. Thank the Lord. But today we're going to be talking about screaming. And why we're going to be talking about screaming and tantrums, I should say, is because that little intro I just gave you happened to me yesterday. We went on a walk. It was a beautiful day out. We were outside. They went playing. Both the girls had the bikes. So one of them is one of those glider bikes, you know, the one where they can walk with it. There's no pedals on it. And then the other one's a bike that has training wheels on it. And so they would switch about every block or so. And the one with the glider would just glide down the sidewalk and be at the end of not the end of the street, but, you know, a few houses down because they would stop and wait because the other one, both of them are learning how to pedal, how to use a bike. And they would struggle if, just imagine you're on your neighborhood sidewalk, okay? Every house, you know, gets flush with the street from the driveway so that you could drive up. You're not going to drive over a fucking curb. Hopefully. Maybe your wife does. Ooh. Just kidding. But, so yeah, like it goes from driveway and then it goes up to the sidewalk. So, you know, it's like a little hills for them. And boy, are these hills hard for them. It's not even a step above the street level. But it's hard on their little quads. That shit burns. So fast forward, I taught these kids how to overcome these little hills just by speeding up when they're going down. So they would go down like the little sidewalk hill. I don't even know what else to call it. They go down it, they get some momentum, and I'm like, speed up, let's go. And then they get up to the next little hill. And since they have speed and momentum, it's not hard on their quads. They don't have to stop. They don't have to get off the bike and walk it up. They can just keep rolling. And fast forward to the drama. The drama is one of my daughters came to this mountain, we should say to them, and she could not get up it. And she was getting frustrated, which was normal. But like I mentioned, I gave her the tools. I gave her what she needed to do to overcome this challenge. She just needed to put it into play. You know, I told them if they got stuck to just back it up where they were at least a few feet back and, start pedaling. Get that momentum. Speed up. And she's trying to back it up, and she gets off her bike, and the bike is just like she's not controlling the steering wheel of it, the handlebar, and so the bike is just turning wherever the fuck it wants. And she's getting pissed. She starts raging at this point. And I'll be like, breathe. It's going to be okay. We're going to wait here. We got time. And she's just crying, like, pouting and shit. And I told my other baby to wait. Just give her some space, get out of her bubble. So she went like a house down and is just waiting. And we're just waiting for our sister here to get that momentum. But she never gets on the bike. And she starts screaming. And I don't know about you guys, but screaming is not okay in my house. Okay? I do not do well with it. I do not appreciate it. It is a no-no. We do not scream at each other, nor do we scream at the parents. So they're not allowed to scream at mom and dad. But we make it very... What's the word am I trying to say? We make it known that they can express their feelings. We want them to be able to express that they're angry, they're frustrated, they're sad, all the above. But in no way are they allowed to scream it. Okay? And so she's screaming. And she's not even saying anything. She's just screaming out loud, crying, throwing a big fit. And at this point, she's stomping her feet. That's another thing for me too, is I do not appreciate when the fists get clenched and they're stomping their feet. That's a tantrum in my eyes, and I am not going to have it. So what do? I just ask, because we're in the middle of the neighborhood, and I'm not going to be like, hey, knock that shit off. Granted, if the situation arose to it, I would gladly do so, but I prefer not to. Okay? So I'm just like, hey, maybe we should switch. No! Stomping her feet again. And I'm just like, that's not how you talk to me. If you're going to start getting a fit or getting pissed, throwing your tantrum, you're not going to do this. You're going to switch. You're going to go back on the glider. And at this point, she's just bawling her eyes out. So that's just a small part of it, okay? There's no long, drawn-out story of it. But regardless, in public, I do not appreciate the screaming, the shouting. I don't appreciate it in my home, don't get me wrong. But in public, it is not okay. No. So I kid you not, it took about 5 to 7 minutes, I would say, for this whole thing to escalate, de-escalate, be done with, yada, yada, yada. Something I like to do a lot is if I know that I have that safe space, I should say, or the time and place, I will not say a single word. I want to be able to allow my kids to overcome these challenges. Like I mentioned before numerous times, I gave her the knowledge that she needed to do to overcome it. All she had to do was think about it and then put it into play, because she already did numerous times before. So she knew how, and I knew she was capable of doing it. And so when these situations occur like this, not even just for the bike, just in general, if I got that time and space, I won't say a single thing. I'll let it escalate. Granted, like if it's escalating to like that screaming point, that's when I'll step in and I'll correct it or, navigate it somewhere else. But, yeah, so the whole escalation part of it, I didn't say a single word. The only thing I said was I was talking to her sister, which was to give her her space and to give her, some time, which is why she went down the house or whatever, a few houses down. And yeah, so I just watched her. I made sure that, she wasn't doing anything crazy or getting to a point where she could hurt herself or she was going to be acting inappropriately. But they're kids, so they're going to go through their emotions, and I allowed her to go through her emotions. And it just, in this scenario, it didn't get to the point where she overcame the challenge like it did prior in the day. But that's what's going to happen sometimes, is not every time are they going to have the patience and the energy to overcome it. And that was just what happened. Point blank. So after the point of it escalating to the screaming and me being able to shut it down, I'm pretty good at shutting it down pretty quick. And I think that's just part of being a dad and, having consistency and a structure. But, I shut it down, and then I told her, okay, it's time to switch because you're getting frustrated now. You need to switch with your sister, and you go on the glider, let her ride it now. And that's exactly what she did. She got on the glider, they switched, and everything from there on. Like, she was still crying a little bit as she was gliding down the block, but it's funny to say gliding. Like, she was just flying like Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story Run. No, but yeah, so she was just whining a little bit, but that was that. This was just one scenario. I wanted to mention it because I know a lot of you fathers go through the same thing. It doesn't even have to be riding a bike, but it comes to the point where they're throwing a tantrum and they're outbursting more than you're comfortable with or past the limit that you accept. And so I just wanted to share mine, how I handled it, and give you a little taste of what that dad Carlo goes through on a regular basis. Shit happens every day. So take that as what you want. I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope you have a blessed, beautiful week. Muchas gracias. De nada. Adios. If you like today's episode, I would greatly appreciate if you share it, like it, leave it a review. If you want to know more about me, please visit me on Instagram, any of my social medias at that dad Carlo. I'm also coming out with some merchandise on my website and in my links, like my bios, for a few shirts that I'm dropping. So if you're interested in some merch, I'd appreciate that too. I'm trying to build a community for fathers that can be themselves and be 100%, be 100% who they are, and to feel like they're part of something bigger than them. To feel like they're part of a community that's strong, united, and looking out for each other. So I appreciate you. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you went through something similar. And I'm out. Peace.